You're about to listen to our program Eng. We don't know why, however we are grateful you chose to. We do wish to inform you that the views, opinions and overall morality do not necessarily reflect those of the station, interview guests, sponsors or musical entities. If you should choose to continue, and we sincerely hope that you do, just know, we tried to advise you against these actions and we are not responsible for any damage done to your sanity, morals or ideals. Thank you. Here comes the terrible siren.
I am a humble man.
That you feel you don't belong.
I won't say you should follow me.
You are welcome. You are loved. Join us, and we shall reach the promised plain.
I'm not boastful, and my chorus is more soulful.
One of joy, one lacking pain. We are the cult of I am aware.
Don't say it. I can see
You
it.
feel you don't belong.
I don't wanna. You don't need it. Once again, we are legion. What I'm meaning. Don't say it. I can see it.
Join us.
I don't wanna. You don't
We shall
need it.
reach
Once
the
again,
promised
we are
plain.
legion.
One of joy, one lacking pain. We are the cult of All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the very first edition of our video version of our podcast, and there is nobody better to kick things off with than our very good friend IceKold from the Dummast Podcast.
Yo, what is up, man?
Not much, man. I gotta say, I'm kind of taking a page out of your playbook here by trying to do more video podcasts. I like
Do it, man.
you inspired me, man. You showed me what could be, and I decided to roll them dice and see how the chips fall with it.
Gotcha. See, here's the thing with me, man. I was always a behind the camera guy, you know. So it took me, I got some confidence building, just some, just a good old fashioned let's get up and go to actually do these video podcasts because I really just don't like my face.
I always said I got a voice for radio and the face to match.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's still kind of weird when I do it and I see myself, but I mean, I think for the most part, people like that better. They like seeing a face behind the voice.
Yeah, I've noticed the content where I put my ugly mug up seems to do a little bit better than when it's just my voice. Plus, too, I want to get more into the video editing process, so I need content to edit. Kind of stroking my own ego here by doing these.
Yeah. Well, what you're going to find, though, the hardest problem is if you're recording, which you probably are, audio and video separately, is matching the voice coming out of your mouth with the audio.
Oh, yeah.
That could be a little... That could be a little tedious sometimes because sometimes they you get separate recordings, but sometimes they don't match up.
No, I'm fully aware of that. Like I said, I am recording audio separately. Like each of us are on a different channel, being recorded, and there will be a audio version that I make for Friday night. And then this video version will go up like a day or two later, but I've got to shorten it and make it fit in the fun size. And it sounds like a lot of work because it is, but I swear to you, it's going to look awesome when I'm done.
Yeah.
All right, man. So, before we jump into our first topic, Dummast Podcast is on a little bit of a hiatus.
A little bit of a break. We usually we did a little bit different because I just couldn't get an episode in. So I think our last show was like the end of December. Usually we go on a little break in the middle of December. and then we come back at the middle of January. So I'm probably going to take off till the end of January. I'm still out there. I'm still doing reels. I'm still doing my Sun show, which I'm editing currently. So I haven't. I don't think it's a thing where I'm just stopping. It's just a podcast. I want to kind of give it a little break. I'm trying to think of some new ideas. I'm gonna be doing some shows by myself, so the show can keep moving and I don't have to wait weeks. But I mean, yeah, just taking a little break, a little creative break from the podcast, and not a huge break, but a couple weeks.
Well, anytime you need someone to be color commentary, I'm available.
I know. Shit, let's go.
I know those solo shows can be a little daunting at times.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done one, but I've been practicing and I've been kind of putting it together in my head. That's the thing with me, man. I think about it in my head. I think about the vision in my head, and that's a slow process when I do it. So it's I've been looking at different camera views and just getting some ideas and trying to this wall I got right here. I want to face the camera that way and possibly get a big sign on that wall, but I need some money.
Don't we all, brother? Don't we all?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So our first topic is the fact that sweeping across the U.S. currently seems to be a bunch of homelessness bills that are targeted at arresting and removing the homeless from the street without actually helping them.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of this when I lived in Tucson. They would pick up the homeless people and bring them to the hospital that I worked at and basically forcefully admit them. So they would, I guess the guise was to get the help that they needed. But realistically, it was just padding the bottom line of the hospital, because the hospital could then get them set up on Medicaid or Medicare, and then they get a like kickback or a finder's fee, I should say, for that. And then on top of that, they get to charge that state insurance for whatever they go through while they're there. And, you've seen tons of major cities put up architecture or, pieces like benches and stuff that are purposely designed so people can't lay on them and whatnot. Man, homelessness is not always a choice, in my opinion.
I don't think it's ever a choice. Well, I ain't gonna say ever, but I say for the most part, yeah. I mean, people fall on hard times.
Yeah, and I don't understand why we have to turn our back on someone who's fallen on hard times. That seems to be the MO in this country, doesn't it?
Not only that, but it's been that way for a very long time. Ever since I can remember, this has been like a serious problem that nobody really dives into. And I don't know why. I mean, we got trillions of dollars, well, not trillions, billions of dollars to spend on wars. We got billions of dollars to spend on whatever Congress deems fit to spend on. And we can't get homeless people off the street. We can give money, just give money and aid to like Israel. But here we got people laying on the street. I don't know. It's like, again, it's just been a problem for a very long time, and I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why this has gotten only worse. It hasn't gotten better.
Well, because we believe that the media and the government telling us the buzzword of socialism is a bad thing, even though we have numerous instances of socialism in our country. Hell, our own federal government, most of the people are on socialism, are on socialist programs. They get health care for life. They get a stipend for life. They get security for life, depending on what level of the government they're in. Often their homes are paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Like why is the idea of socialism okay for our upper government, but we the people, nah, fuck y'all.
Yeah. And here's another thing. I don't know. Like people scream at socialism. We live in a socialism. We don't want to be social, But when I see what happens in other countries that are, in a lot of ways, education and median income and things like that, they're ran better.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. They when you're getting a living wage, that's socialism. We don't have anything like that here.
No, and the whole campaign with 45, Make America Great Again. When the fuck was it great? Like,
great for who?
Yeah,
great for who?
Who?
Because I mean, I don't wake up and roll out of bed and don't have to work. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You want to talk about great? It's great for a certain amount of. It's great for a top 5%.
What I
That's
don't.
what it's great for.
And where I'm with you at is what I don't understand is like these people that we're talking about, the homeless, a lot of the times, and this is from my own experience working at the hospital, it ain't for a lack of trying. It ain't for a lack of can-do effort. Some people just get their fucking knees knocked out from under them through no fault of their own, really. Yes, there are some that have chosen drugs or, criminal lifestyles that have led them to where they are. But there are even more of them that this is through no fault of their own. And the problem that nobody seems to really talk about is that once you hit that point, it is very hard to come back from there.
You're not coming back. You're not. I mean, it will take a miracle for you to come back because, okay, what do you need in life? You need a job. You need income. Who's going to hire someone who lives on the street and can't bathe, who can't at least get his or her personal hygiene together? It's again, once you're at that low level, you're there.
Well, think about it. Say you're lucky enough, if you do find yourself homeless, that you have a vehicle. Cool. You've got a place to lay your head and at night, right? Right up until you park in the wrong spot.
Yep.
Then they take your car and they fine you.
Done.
And then in some states, if you don't pay your fines, they take your license.
Yep.
Okay, now you don't have a home, you don't have a car, and you don't have a license. So now you have to try and play how to get a state ID at least. Well, if you don't have an address, you can't get a state ID. 9 times out of 10, too, the people that found themselves living in their car have all of their important stuff in that car. And if they're not able to get that stuff out, now that stuff is now locked in an impound that they can't pay to get access to.
Right.
So there's the first stumbling block. And a lot of people watching may be like, well, maybe they should have planned better and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the next time life smacks you in the fucking dick, remember that. Remember that same energy. Maybe you should have planned better.
Yeah. That seems to always be an excuse for certain people who think they are doing really well. Life can happen to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Life can happen to anyone. And excuse me. It's what we're talking about is kind of like, gravitational pull almost. The closer you get to the top, the faster you're going to ascend to the top.
Mm-hmm.
The closer you get to the bottom, the faster you're going to hit rock bottom.
Yeah, and there is no middle.
Yeah. No, you know what? No, there is a middle. And I think it's a wide middle because you have lower middle class, middle class, upper middle class. But when you get to that poverty, when you get to crossing from lower middle class to poor, the faster you're going to sink down. Everything is trending for you to just keep going down.
Yeah. Well, what I was getting at is I don't think that there's a gravitational pull towards middle.
No.
Yeah.
When you're
middle is that struggle.
Because, again, yes, middle is that struggle. Middle is middle people. If you're middle class people are poor, they don't have the money to get out of that wide, that middle, lower middle, middle, upper middle. It's hard to get out of there. It would take a breakthrough to break that glass ceiling.
Right.
But
now, see, I would assume based on the things that you and I have talked about personally and privately and stuff like that, you would be middle.
Yes.
I'm in the poverty line. And they often say that you can't be friends with someone who is outside your income bracket. I will say that there are times where I personally feel annoyed with certain friends that are like in that middle class, because like the things that they talk about and the way they say things, it's like, well, if so and so would just, put in a little elbow grease and a little more can-do spirit, they'll have everything they want. They're not trying hard enough. And I'm sitting there like, motherfucker, you are my friend, but I want to punch you in the mouth.
You know what it took, because I was that person to a certain extent, not fully, but to a certain extent. I did, it was kind of hard for me to I guess not so much empathize, because just to understand, I guess. I was making much more than I make now. And it just took someone to come in my company and say, how do we get these people to work more and pay them much less? I make less than half than what I used to make. And here's the thing, I'm still middle class, and I was middle class before.
Yeah. You were upper middle, now you're middle.
Yeah. Well, who's to say when I don't even think I was upper middle class. I was just doing really well, and now it's a struggle.
Yeah.
It is a legit struggle.
And you've got that middle class income, and it's a struggle. I'm in the poverty line. Imagine my struggle. Yeah. But no, I get it. It's not easy. More money, more problems. Like it's 100% true. There is something freeing, I will say, about being in the poverty line at times, because even when life starts heaping shit on you, you're like, fuck, man.
Yeah. Yep.
This is day 2. This is Tuesday. This is a normal Tuesday.
Right. No, I think it's a difference when like your insurance check comes, you got the bill for the insurance comes in, and you're in a middle income and you can't pay it, or you're going to have to, rob Peter to pay Paul to pay it, or you got to come up with that money. It's different when you're in under the poverty line, and that comes and you're just like, okay, well, it's just another bill.
Well, I am 100% the hustler that I am because of growing up and living in the poverty line. I know how to make things happen when I absolutely have to. The problem is, it seems to only be in a do or die situation that I can make that magic happen. Because if I try to make that magic happen when everything's going good, nothing happens. Not a damn thing.
So you're saying you work well under pressure?
I don't enjoy it.
Oh, who would enjoy that? Nobody would enjoy that.
And sometimes, even still, like we're in a situation right now where, our car broke down, the wife's job screwed her for 2 months. So like paychecks are like almost non-existent, and we can't get anywhere. I can't even go out and do DoorDash right now because the car is dead. So the only other skills that I have are, editing and design and stuff like that. But that requires people to have money, and ain't nobody trying to spend anything in Q1.
Yeah. Well, that's always been the trend. Q1 is, Christmas just happened, so you kind of like got the tight wallet. That don't open till people start getting their income tax back.
Yeah, midway through Q2, right into Q3. That's when people have money to throw around, and you better believe that there may be a lapse in episodes because odds out there hustling. I will put on my short shorts and go stand on the corner and say, "Will code for a good time." But when it comes to the homeless folks, I think that if you truly do care, you need to get involved somehow. Find the time to either volunteer at a soup kitchen, see if you've got the finances to donate to the soup kitchens. Go to even if you don't want to take the time for that, go to your city government, go to your city council meetings and start talking about the problem. If your town or your city that you live in has a high population of homeless people, go and talk to them about solutions, not talking to them about the problem that the homeless people are, because they really aren't that big of a problem. Some of them can be, I get that, but for the most part, man, they just stand on the street corner and
not bother anybody.
Yeah.
For the most part, they're not bothering anyone. And I'm not talking about people that are on the corner begging for money, because a lot of them ain't homeless.
Wow.
I'm talking about the people that may live in the shanty towns or under the viaduct. You walk past those places, those people don't even say nothing to you. And it's sad to see, because you can look at them and just tell they are ashamed of the situation they're in. They don't even look you in the face.
And see, I've never understood that too. You remember back in the day when we were kids, you grew up poor though, right? Or were you middle class pretty much your whole life?
Middle class, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my parents, I don't know. I really don't know. I had a happy childhood. That's all I can say.
Cool. We grew up poor as fuck. I remember when food stamps were still fucking stamp books. All right. And I remember how embarrassed my mother was to use those food stamps. Like, she had a job, but it wasn't enough. It didn't make enough money. She worked for the school district, and she was what was known as a parapro, and they've never been paid adequately or fairly. So she would be embarrassed to use those food coupons, you know, at the store. And I've never understood why we shame those that need help. We were essentially a country that opened our doors to help others.
Yeah, even help immigrants.
We're all immigrants. Yeah. We're all descendants of immigrants.
Right.
And that still goes through to this day. Like, we have our own troubles, like I've said, and we've been on food stamps off and on throughout my entire life. You know, that we use them the way they're supposed to be. They're a stopgap. You know, you're not supposed to just sit and live on them forever. If you can help it, let's put it that way. But I remember, you know, being at grocery stores and people trying to shame my wife when she'd go to use the card. Oh, I'm so glad my tax dollars paid for that. Motherfucker, I'm just trying to survive. Right? Like, I'm not out here buying filet mignon and fucking lobster. I got Kraft mac and cheese and fucking bologna in my cart. All right?
I can't. You know, you see me in the grocery store. You don't see me at, you know, the car dealership with these food stamps. You see me in the grocery store, which means I am in need. It's weird. One day I was door dashing, right? And while I was door dashing, when you're in Safeway and you DoorDash, it is you know, they don't pay taxes for some reason. I think, I don't know what DoorDash does. I know when you're at the counter and you're trying to when you're trying to pay with the card, the little red card they give you, they will bring out a book, and the people who order from Safeway through DoorDash, they're tax exempt. So there was a guy standing in line, and I just saw the wheels in his head turn, and he was just trying to figure out why I wasn't paying tax. He didn't know I DoorDash, but he was trying to figure out why I did not have to pay taxes on this food. And I start hearing him talk like, "What? I'm trying to figure out why he's not paying taxes. I'm trying to figure out why he's tax exempt." He couldn't get it out of his head, to the point when I was leaving, he walked. His car was on one side in the parking lot. He walked to my side like he wanted to ask the question, why didn't I pay taxes? What did I have to do not to pay taxes?
That's everybody's question.
And again, it was more so maybe the color of my skin and not paying tax. When that combination of the color of my skin and not paying taxes bothered him. He was clearly agitated.
I'm assuming he and you were of different colors?
Yes. Yeah, of course, yes.
Was he of my persuasion?
Yes.
Yeah,
so like he was just he could. Is there something, I couldn't really make out the conversations he was having with his wife. I know his wife walked in one direction, he kept walking in my direction. I put the stuff in the back of the car, back of my car, and I drove off. I didn't do because again, I didn't.
What kind of car you drive?
Well, me?
Yeah.
I have a 2020 Blazer.
It looks nice, right? Because you keep your cars nice and clean.
I have two boys, man.
Inside. I understand the inside. I'm talking the outside.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Okay, so this man saw a black man get tax-exempt groceries and put it into a very nice car and drive off. You burned him up so bad that day.
And I just know he went home and told all his friends, like, man,
no,
Biden's giving black people tax. They don't have to pay taxes. I know.
That motherfucker hit a Chipotle first and gave somebody else a bad day real quick.
Yeah.
I refuse to refer to it as Chipotle. It's Chipotle. No, but like we see others in need as if they're diseased, and I don't know. Like, I grew up in that environment. Even though we were poor, my stepfather was conservative, right wing, Republican. No handouts, no nothing, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, well, what about a hand up? If you don't want to give handouts, what about a hand up? And he was like, well, what's the difference? And I was like, well, there really isn't, but I guess it sounds better to you idiots.
Yeah.
But like none of that stuck with me. Like I saw the situation we were in, and I saw the people that helped, and I was like, man, I want to be able to do that someday. I want to be in that position to offer that help, because I don't feel that there are enough people that are like that.
Yeah, and only people that have nobody has a problem. I'm not gonna say nobody. A lot of those people who look down and discourage people for needing a handout have no problems with the handouts that wealthy people are getting from more wealthy people. They have no problem with that handout. What do you like when people are avoiding taxes? That's a handout. That is a handout for this country is giving out handouts.
Yep.
And why do you have a problem with handouts from the poor, but not handouts from people who really don't need the handout?
Because they don't need it. That's what it comes down to. It's fine to get help. Like, it's this weird thing is if you need it, they don't want to give it to you, and if you don't need it, they want to hand it to you just left and right. It's the weirdest goddamn thing. I don't understand it. So weird. Like, you're fine until you ask for help, but the minute you ask for help, you're fucked.
And the funniest part of it is there are people who are so brainwashed that they really could use a handout. They really could use a handout because they might be floating in that line where 2 steps back they were in the poverty line, and 2 steps up they're still lower middle income. And they are so brainwashed that they're looking down on people who are taking a handout. Brother, you about 2 steps behind needing that handout. What the fuck are you? It's crazy.
Well, I mean, look at me. How much do you see about me post online about how our situation is right now?
I've seen a few posts.
A few, but not much. Just kind of to explain why I'm not around right now.
Right.
And it's because I know the minute I actually try to ask for legitimate help, I just get shit on. Just, hey, I'm absent for a little bit. This is why shit went south. I'm working the problem. And when I said it that way, ping, 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 ping. Hey, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? What can I do to help? But if I went out there and said, I need help, I need money, I need this, everybody'd be like, not everybody, but the folks that can help often will look the other way. And like I said, I don't understand it. I'm just trying to keep from being homeless, man. That's it. Like, I got my rent covered this month. That's about it. We're going to have to struggle for everything else. But, my roof is covered, and I want to see, because the other thing that's fucky too is all these people will claim to be Christians on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And God said, help the poor, feed the hungry, heal the sick, all that. And yet here they are. Nah, he was just kidding. He didn't mean it.
Yeah.
See,
he got some money somewhere. He just want to use our money.
Yeah. Like, sure. Yeah, I'm a billionaire that's sitting on a bank account in the Cayman Islands. Please help me. Please, sir, can I have some more?
Now it's time for our Patreon shout-out. Big thanks to C. Weezy, Bryce Rogers, Justin Burnside and Zaldor of Zaldor's World Podcast for becoming a patron. Welcome to our Holy Mother and the throne she sits upon, who have joined the Cult of Odd Plus. We hope you enjoy our long, uncut and girthy episodes until you're fully satisfied and left shaking from laughter. For everyone else, you can join our Patreon too. Just head to patreon.com/cultofodd. Become a patron and reap the benefits today.
Are you tired of incense that stinks? Motor City Candleworks is Metro Detroit's #1 source for premium handmade incense, as well as hand sanitizer and now massage oil, with a wide array of scents inspired by Michigan cities and attractions. You're sure to find a fragrance that'll keep your love of the mitten burning all year round. Head to MotorCityCandleworks.com and order yours today. And make sure you find them on Facebook too for all of their upcoming sales and events. Motor City Candleworks. Michigan handmade scents that just make sense.
That smell. The kind of smelly smell.
So everybody out there can
find me somewhere in the galaxy. Genuine articles, sick fatalities. Snap a rapper into particles. Ancient arsenal, my pedigree's my only vice. So precise, I leave a poltergeist, frozen ice. A fucking ice grip walking through the dark abyss. Verbalist, I want my turbulence with a bourbon twist. Bars of murderers, how many punches can you take? You fucking fakes, hold my sack like Jake the Snake. I'm the great and Great Lakes, loyal to my rotten core. Find me at the liquor store, underwater like the ocean floor. Furthermore, I got rhymes in abundance. Recreate the curve without the use of a compass. Whenever the sun sets, you'll find that I'm right. There's only a few things that go bump in the night. So, in hindsight, you should've left me for dead. What good's a bulletproof vest when I shoot for your head? Shoot first, ask questions later. Out here, we don't fuck with haters. I'm here to get this paper.
everybody out there can suck my dick.
Shoot first, ask questions later. Out here, we don't fuck with haters. I'm here to get this paper.
Everybody out there can suck my dick.
Divine moment, black heart like Owen. I'm a castaway adrift alone in the ocean. My promotion consists of whiskey fists and Japanese geisha slicing alabaster wrist. Strap shit is a gift, but fuck the Gestapo. Damo is a genius like leaping Lenny Poffo. Follow the buzzers, King Buzzo, the vein. See, I don't give a fuck about anything you say. It's an awkward placement, you'll be locked in a basement. With locks adjacent to a lobotomy patient. I'm the way station between dope and the past. Who's here to take you out, that's what you do with the trash. High class boss level, skilled up to a master. I got something that you don't, they call it the it factor. People to back this, there's nothing I hate more. It's grimy as it gets in the pit of the rancor. Shoot first, ask questions later. Out here, we don't fuck with haters. I'm here to get this paper.
Everybody out there can suck my dick.
Shoot first, ask questions later. Out here, we don't fuck with haters. I'm here to get this paper.
Everybody out there can suck my dick.
And the high's worth the hurt, the flame's worth the burn. Come light up my life. Come light up my life. We can watch the world burn. Come light up my life. We can watch the world burn. 'Cause I can't wait another day. I forgot how to feel, and I swear it's the last time. Come remind me what's real. 'Cause the nights grew cold, alone felt wrong. Said I'm done, but I'll be back before long. I've lost control of rolling stone. Mollly made me your young.
I remember all the times that we would spend up on your roof, just me and you, a pack of cigarettes for two. Now I'm sitting reminiscing with a fifth of Captain Morgan, drowning out my sorrow, looking at pictures of you. Baby, where did the time go? I think we might have lost it in between all the problems you kept causing. You drove a dagger through my heart, took it out and licked the blade with a smile on your face. You put me right in my coffin. You cold-hearted, it's funny how they work. You give a girl a card and they end up kicking the dirt. So baby, beg my pardon for these words that I say, but you ain't the only girl anymore. Times change, but I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. You know time changes everybody, baby. I won't. No, I won't. No, I won't. That's why I don't trust. That's why I don't lie. So baby, look me right in my goddamn eye and tell me that you love me one more time, and then I'll let you walk away. Now I'm watching. Yes, I'm watching. Yes, I'm watching you walk away. And now I'm watching. Oh, yes, I'm watching. Oh, yes, I'm watching you walk away. Now it's been a couple months since I've even tried to call you. I've been working even harder on myself. I know you see me doing well and you congratulate me now, but where the hell did you go when I really needed help? I know you hated that I'm making it. I know you wish you never dated him. I know it hurts to see the other girls above me now. I'm living life without you happily up in the clouds. You want me back, but I won't play no games. I won't say no names. I see that karma has something in store coming your way, and I'ma laugh at the day just like you laughed at my pain. 'Cause now that I see that you're changing, I'm very proud to say that I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. You know time changes everybody, baby. I won't. No, I won't. No, I won't. That's why I don't trust. That's why I don't lie. So baby, look me right in my goddamn eye and tell me that you love me one more time, and then I'll let you walk away. Now I'm watching. Yes, I'm watching. Yes, I'm watching you walk away. And now I'm watching. Oh, yes, I'm watching. Oh, yes, I'm watching you walk away from me. Now, baby, we both know that we've been through hell, but now you're just another story to tell. Another wish in the well. I picked you up when you were down and kept that smile upon your mouth, but I guess it wasn't enough to make you stick around. But now I'm doing me and it feels so great. I have dreams and aspirations, you got problems to face. I could have been that guy to help you through them, but instead you pick another dude over me. Like, what are you doing? Don't you see that it ain't like movies up on the screen? I keep it moving. With or without you, I'ma live my life and keep on doing what I always promised doing. And lately I've been noticing the changes. Everybody seems to do the same thing, but baby, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. You know time changes everybody, baby. I won't. No, I won't. No, I won't. That's why I don't trust. That's why I don't lie. So baby, look me right in my goddamn eye and tell me that you love me one more time, and then I'll let you walk away. Now I'm watching. Yeah, I'm watching. Yeah, I'm watching you walk away from me. Now I'm watching you walk away from me. Baby, I know it's been a long time since we talked or we even had a thing, but I see that you're changing every day, and I'm very proud to say that I don't. So everybody stand up and say it with me. That's why I don't trust, that's why I don't lie. So baby, look me right in my goddamn eye and tell me that you love me one more time, and then I'll let you walk away. That's
if you are watching and you want to do something, like I said, go to your city government, start talking to them, because that's how we actually change shit is we start at that city level. I know it sounds cliche as shit, but go sit in your city council meetings and start raising the issue. What are we doing to help the homeless? Because locking them up, fining them with, making them pay money they don't have, and putting them in hospitals when they don't necessarily need to be there is not helping. And they're forcefully putting these people.
And also forcing medication on them. That's another thing. They are forcing medication. They are forcing medication on them, and maybe that person don't need that medication. We all know if I went to the hospital right now, they're going to tell me all these medications I need.
Yeah, because they want to make money.
Exactly. So you think a homeless person's going to go in there and they're going to tell him, oh yeah, he doesn't need any medication? No, they're going to stick everything in him that they can.
Well, and realistically, too, the doctors that are in there, I mean, there are some really good ones, but most of them are there just to rubber stamp. This is how I make money. This is how I make money. This is how I make money. You're putting the homeless in there, hoping they'll get the care that they need, and basically all they're doing is buying that doctor a new Lexus or a new Bentley or a new whatever they're into. They're paying for that Christmas cruise that they're gonna take or some crazy shit.
Conversation for another time, man. But I mean, I just hate the way hospitals are ran right now. It's just quick story before we move on, if we can.
No, you're good, man.
There was one hospital that the hospital in my immediate area. You can whatever you're dealing with, there is a person that will come in your emergency room with a cart and a register. I could be dealing with, let's just say a couple months ago, my son had a 105-degree temperature. 105.
Scary.
That's very scary. That's almost brain damage level. And here she come in the emergency room rolling a register. Now, this has happened to me before. So in my mind, I'm like, ain't no way that's going to happen this time. My son is coming in and out. He's not conscious. He's so hot that he's every 5 minutes closing his eyes, going back to sleep. And she comes in with the register to charge me, to take my insurance and so I have to pay my deductible. That has happened every time I've gone into this hospital. And I guess that
poor form.
What was that?
Poor form.
Yeah, it's really bad. Just send me the bill in the mail.
Yeah.
Just send me the bill in the mail. I've had everything from what do they call this? Where you get loopy and really dizzy. I forget the name of it. Something with the ear fluids or something.
Oh, yeah. Inner ear stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was making me dizzy. I can't think of the name. Vertigo. I had vertigo. Here they come with the cart. Vertigo. Broke my tailbone one time. Here they come in there with the cart. Anytime I've been sick and had to go to the doctor or emergency room, they will come in there with this cart, no matter what I'm dealing with.
Jesus.
And it is so intrusive because the cart and the register is so big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. It's
they know they could get to like one of those little fucking square readers.
Yeah. Like it's so intrusive. It's so like it's just it's not good customer service.
No.
And I hate to even use the word customer service when you're talking about a hospital, a place to get better.
Well, I've worked with health insurance, and I'm gonna tell you what, it's the goddamn devil.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form, but health insurance is the goddamn devil. Because the way the system is set up for most people, you've got your deductible, and then you've got that weird tiny window where they'll actually pay for everything. And then as soon as that window closes, you're back to paying damn near double again before they'll pick anything else up. And like, it's just, they call that the donut hole. And I was like, that is why. Well, because people fall into the donut hole a lot. It's cute. It's fun. It doesn't make it sound so heartless. Cool. Got it. Yeah, I didn't last there long.
Don't facts like that just wipe you out? Napkin? No.
So, since we were talking in the last segment about the haves and the have-nots in a way, I figured this would be a nice pivot into this topic. Billionaires want to be immortal, and the damage that that could possibly cause. Now, I know I said it to you, and I know you read it. Yeah, I know it sounds funny, but I mean, if anybody's got the fucking money to try and make it happen, to find that fountain of youth, I mean, historically, kings and countrymen alike, that had even a little bit of extra scratch were searching for the fountain of youth. Was it Ponce de Leon was sent out to go find it? Hell, the whole story of El Dorado is basically built around trying to find the golden city and the fountain of youth.
Fountain of youth, yep.
So what's your take, man? Like, billionaires wanting to be immortal.
Okay, because they're using the word billionaires, and I don't think it's a money thing. I think it's a power thing. I think it's people who are in power. So yes, I understand what you're saying, but I think it's more of a power thing. There are plenty of rich people that die and don't try to do this or don't even think that way. It's people that have been in power. When you think about the Jeff Bezoses and the Elon Musks, they wield power. They wield power over the stock market, enterprise. They wield power, and I just think it's a power thing. I think they love that power. I don't think at that, I think they want to live forever because they have that power. Now, my question is, are they close to making any type of breakthrough with this? Like, is there any,
Well, define close, and then define how much we actually know.
Within the next 20 years.
It's possible. I'm going to tell you right now, if anyone would have the technology first, it would be the U.S. military, because they always say that the military is 20 to 30 years ahead technology-wise than where we are as the private citizen. Yeah. The military is going to want to figure this out first, because if they can make soldiers that live forever,
super soldiers.
Yeah. I had a story that I wrote years ago, an outline for it, where the U.S. government found a DNA string code that would stop the aging process at about 25, and you would live forever. Like, the society that they built after they found that is you had to pay to die. You were indentured servant. You were a slave for life, because if you don't die and you stop aging at 25, you're in your prime.
You in your prime. You in that bucket. You in a buck at that point.
And they can work you as long as they want and pay you as little as they want. Ugh. So high concept for a story and whatnot. But man, every year I see us getting closer and closer to things that I've come up with for stories that scare the shit out of me. And I'm just like, man, please stop.
It's that, when I read that article, I was just like, man, this is like crazy. It's just, they don't even want to die. Like, nobody wants to die, but like, they want to wield that power forever. Mm-hmm. They are so in lust of just holding power and holding sway over us poors that they don't want to die. They don't want to give up their power. They don't even want to hand it to
the next generation.
Offspring. Yeah, exactly. Guess what? They did talk about it in this article. If that is a thing, if that is something that is possible, if they are close to it, it needs to be spread the wealth on that. I would like to live an extra 20 years, even if that's it. I heard it was, maybe they can extend the human life on average, 20 years on average. Spread that, but we know they ain't gonna do that.
I would imagine for the chance at true immortality, they may have to inject you when you're young in order to make it work. I know that there are crustaceans out there, like lobsters and whatnot, that pretty much don't age. Like it's so slow. Like they have such
Turtles. And
yeah,
turtles.
turtles too. But there are some crustaceans that are essentially immortal because they age so slowly. I know they're dicking around with that DNA. I know that they're dicking around with the DNA of like cephalopods and stuff like that because they also age very, very slowly, and they have regenerative properties, much like certain lizards and stuff like that. If a tentacle or a limb in a lizard is cut off, they usually can regrow it. It takes time, but they can. These are all things that humans want, or at least the rich humans want.
Let me ask you a question. I'm all for science. I'm all for it. But do you think some of this shit that you were just saying is going too far?
Oh yeah. No. Our technology has far surpassed our humanity. We never stop about thinking, should we?
Yes. It
Just can we?
It wasn't a question if we could do it, but should we do it?
I see that how some of the research and just things like that might be helpful for people who have cancer or their body is ravaged by some sort of debilitating disease. Maybe having this technology would allow for the cells to regrow, or their body to heal itself. Beyond that, man, but that's the thing, is when you create with something, once you put it out into the wild, that's it.
It's yeah. Yep.
Like game over. You can't say, okay, we're not going to go any further than this.
You can't put that toothpaste back in the tube.
Right, because there's always going to be a DD that wants to push the fucking button.
But yeah, I just think when I hear of certain things, when I hear that they are producing chickens with like 20 legs so they can have more chickens, chicken legs for us to eat. When I hear of just certain procedures and certain experiments being done, it's just like, should we be doing this? Should we be? I don't know. And you might not believe this because you are not religious, but like, is this going past God's will at some point?
I mean, if I were religious, I could see why someone would say that. Like I can see it because if you believe in the Bible, it was very clear that man was not supposed to tinker with the power of the gods, i.e., that's why Adam and Eve got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, because Eve ate from the tree of knowledge and she gained insight and wisdom that she was not supposed to have, as did Adam. So the story that it seems like the Bible wanted to put forth is that ignorance is bliss and knowledge is a burden.
I could see that.
So
I would love to be running around naked, not having to work. That sounds amazing.
Man, honestly, just look at some of the people that are walking around that are dumb as shit. They seem happy.
Yeah.
But no, it is essentially playing creator. I don't care if you call it God or an engineer or creator or whatever. I fully believe aliens exist and we're the result of a science experiment, more than likely.
We're in a simulation.
Right. Yeah. No. I can prove we're in a simulation. I blew my friend's mind with this months ago.
Let me hear it. Do you got time?
Yeah. No, it's super quick. You know how there's a disconnect between what you see and what your brain processes? We live in that disconnect. That's the simulation.
Okay. Okay.
You mad as hell right now, ain't you?
No. Okay. So this is how I could disprove the simulation.
Well, I don't know if we're in a simulation Matrix style, but I know we're in a simulation at least here.
Because to say you're in a simulation means that you don't have free will.
Not necessarily.
Then why, before you cross the street, you look both ways, right?
Sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, fuck it, let's go.
If we did not have free will, and if what was written was already written and was going to happen, we wouldn't be looking across. We wouldn't be looking. We want to preserve our life. Like,
I think it's more I kind of believe that everyone's kind of got a destiny. I'm weird, man. Like with no real religious belief, I've kind of got my own structure and everything.
mm-hmm.
I believe it's more of a choose your own adventure type deal.
Like
where
a massive MMO, like a MMO.
Yeah, like so your story is written, but your story has multiple paths. Right?
Okay.
And if you do A, then B happens. If you do B, then C happens. If you do C, then D happens, etc.
Right.
So I believe that our story is kind of predetermined, but we still can
shape the way you get there.
Yeah. There's an ultimate end for all of us. We know what it is. It's death. That's it. That's death. But the choices we make along the way dictate the path that we take towards there.
Well, you do know they say you're already dead.
Yeah.
You're dying. You're right now, me and you are dying.
Yeah, from the day we were born.
Yeah, we are in the process of dying. We just haven't got there yet. So
Yep, and I smoke and drink a shit ton of soda, and I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
I drink a lot of soda. I probably will get one soda a week.
I definitely have said that I'm okay. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. But then again, I've died a couple of times in my life to begin with, so. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm okay with the life that I've lived. I have no fear of dying. I don't have that super self-preservation thing. The only reason that it's there is because I don't want to do anything that hurts my wife.
Gotcha.
And
no, I'm scared of dying, bro.
I'm not. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? It be over?
You know what? You know what my biggest fear is, and I've been told I was crazy about this.
What's your fear?
Not my biggest fear, but one of them. I don't want to die in my sleep. When I die, I want to know I'm dying.
You want to see it coming?
Not so much see it coming, but like if I'm gonna die like of old age, at least let me, I don't know. I even if I gotta feel pain to die, I just want to know I'm dying. I want to be able to reflect and just, okay, I'm cool with it. Remember the story I told you?
Mm-hmm.
About me
boom.
Yeah. About me being lost in the jungle.
Yeah.
I was ready to die. I was ready to die. I laid down and I made my peace with God. That's how I want to die. And even then I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared. I wasn't going crazy in my mind. I said, you know what? This is it. And I'm cool with this. I'm happy with this is the way to go. At least I got time to put things in perspective and think about things, and
And the scenery was beautiful.
And the scenery was amazing. It was just I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe that air in that jungle. But yeah, man, that's how I want to go. I want to be able, and not so much that I just want to have that time to just like appreciate what I had. I just don't want to go like that.
Start appreciating it now.
Oh yeah. But I mean, when I am at death's door.
See, I'm cool with going in my sleep. Preferred, I'd like to go out under my wife, but I mean, come on. Catch me coming and going at the same time.
I gotta cut off.
I just came.
All right, so Immortal Billionaires, I'm straight. We don't need that. We don't need Jeff Bezos in charge forever. We don't need Elon Musk in charge forever. My worry too with that would be if you got one of them in power, like for the government, then they start trying to rewrite things. Maybe 2 terms of 4 years isn't enough. Maybe I just don't want to leave.
Right.
And,
that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen someday.
Yeah.
One day we're gonna get someone crazier than 45. who will be, I guess, the new 45, and then they're gonna change that. They're gonna have it like, life term or something. That's gonna happen. Not anytime soon, but one day it will happen.
Yeah, I hope I've long since died before that happens.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't want to be around, and I've said it. I'm probably only going to be in this country probably for another 15 years at the max, maybe before that.
No, I don't.
I see
blame
the
you.
direction it's going, bro. I see the direction. I want to be on an island somewhere, bro. I don't want to have anything. I don't want to have anything to do with this.
No Wi-Fi connection, just toes in the sand, drink in your hand, right?
Yeah, some days, but yeah, man, I gotta have some type of Wi-Fi, bro. I don't want to go that far off the grid. I just don't want to be here.
I don't know, beautiful women in bikinis and my toes in the sand. What's a Wi-Fi? If you don't like what's on, just turn your head.
Just turn your head, yeah.
Dreams come true. Just kinda thought I would be there too. All the things you do. How much more you gonna put me through? fighting for, but I need some change and things to stay the same. I'm ready for something more, tired of the same old bars, trying to prove who we are, wishing we were superstars. I just wanna run away, just wanna leave it all behind. I just wanna run away, and I don't even wanna say goodbye. I just wanna go somewhere I know nobody knows my name. I just wanna run away. Sick of all the booze, the lies, the phony cries, you're fooling me with your disguise. Sick of finding out you toss my name around, wish they could see it through my eyes. But it's alright, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't heartbroken tonight. I just wanna run away, just wanna leave it all behind. I just wanna run away, I don't even wanna say goodbye. I just wanna go somewhere I know nobody knows my name. I just wanna run away. We were so lost in all their games, then the talk, the rumors came and went too far. Now here we are. I just had to run away, just had to leave it all behind. I just had to run away, just had to get on with my life. I just gotta run away, just gotta leave it all behind. I just gotta run away, I don't even wanna say goodbye. I just wanna go somewhere I know nobody knows my name. I just wanna run away. I just wanna run away. I just wanna run away with you.
What is the cult of odd? Well, it's a little bit of. And a little. But most importantly, it's about becoming
One of us.
You can join the cult every Friday night from 8 p.m. to 11 Eastern right here on tapdetroit.com or by heading to thecultofodd.com. Let us in. Let us fill you in. Join the cult of odd today.
Let's talk about The Rock being an ass. So, when I was on your show last, we were talking about Black Adam and The Rock, and how Black Adam was supposed to be the savior of the DCEU at the time.
Yep.
And in typical womp 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 womp, The Rock came in and rocked it up.
Rocked it up.
Well, okay, so if you remember from his heyday in the WWE, it was always said that Dwayne Johnson had a huge fucking ego. Like, he thought that he was the main product, he was the show, everything like that. And he kind of rubbed some people the wrong way about it, but he could at least back it up with his skills on the mic and his skills in the ring.
Yeah.
It was even said that for a while there, The Rock had in his contract that he could not lose. There are a couple of other actors in Hollywood that also have these contracts. They're usually your leading men types that, star in the action flicks and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently, since Black Adam has come out now, there have been stories more and more released about The Rock's behavior. And how he wasn't trying to be a team player in Hollywood with these superhero movies. Apparently, right after the WB Discovery merger, he decided to bypass all of the rungs in the ladder and jump straight to the CEO, which the CEO didn't like, as did all the rungs underneath them. He is apparently reached out to Disney to try to be a part of the Star Wars franchise now that DC has kicked him out, and Star Wars kindly told him to go kick rocks.
No pun intended.
No, that pun was intended.
Oh, okay.
And then there's also rumors that he's trying to talk to Disney and Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm curious of, does The Rock need to take a fucking chill pill? Does he need to learn where the back seat is?
I think so. I think DC would have been perfect for him. I think that would have been a good thing. We talked about this on my podcast that we both liked that movie.
Yeah.
And that's something that could have brought DC back to the forefront, especially since it looked at that time that Henry Cavill was coming back.
Right.
I would like to see a movie that had both Rock and Henry Cavill, Superman and Black Adam in the same movie. That would have been dope. But yeah, I mean, you've done it, man. You tried to do it, you couldn't do it, bro. You like leave the superhero movies alone. Just leave him alone. You're not even a fan. He's not even a fan.
Right.
Here's the thing. He wasn't a fan of what was the kind of like the other guy with the
Shazam.
Shazam. He's not a fan of Shazam, and Black Adam is part of that.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that ever going to work?
He was offered a cameo in Shazam, and he turned it down. He said,
Mm-hmm.
it's too silly. I don't want to do that. He was offered a cameo in The Flash, and he turned that down too. He said, no, the next movie I do is Superman versus Black Adam. And well, now the next movie you're shooting is probably a home movie.
Yeah. Just leave the superhero. I don't want to see him in Marvel because who could he play?
Oh,
he could have played Thanos. I mean, he could have, but he didn't like. He doesn't. It's been widely said and reported on that he does not like the superhero movies. So just
actually, if you made him grow his hair back out or put a piece on him, you know who he could probably play?
Who's that?
Sinestro.
Now listen, man. I'm base level.
Okay.
I'm a base level Disney I'm sorry, Marvel fan. I didn't read comics, so Sinestro, I don't even know who that is.
Okay, so Sinestro used to be a Green Lantern. And then craved more power than a Green Lantern should. He became very greedy, and he became the leader of the Yellow Lanterns.
Okay.
And a villain for the Green Lanterns. He was very egotistical. He was very full of himself, and he deserved that he should have everything.
Sounds familiar.
Sounds like The Rock is perfect casting, like Robert Downey Jr. was for Iron Man.
Iron Man, right.
But no, like I believe The Rock shot himself in the foot here. You know, and Dave Bautista recently gave an interview about his time with the Guardians of the Galaxy playing Drax, and he said he's happy that it's coming to an end, mainly because, you know, it wasn't all, you know, sunshine and roses, and the biggest issue was the makeup process. He didn't enjoy it.
I can imagine that being a very long, because that's very detailed, man.
Yeah,
he's probably in that chair for hours. But here's the thing, Dave Bautista, he said that after the first Guardians of the Galaxy, that he's not really all that happy with the role. But guess what? He played the game, and he is hitting home runs in that role.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, he's even said, "Don't compare me to The Rock because I can act." I thought it was funny because The Rock is really just playing himself in every movie. It doesn't matter what movie he's in; he's still got that Dwayne Johnson energy.
I'm trying to think: is Batista really better than The Rock as an actor? And Stuber? No, bro.
I think Batista chooses better roles.
What roles? I'm trying to think, like, what roles
he's been in. So since he came into the Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, Marvel movies aside, he was just in Glass Onion, and he played that role perfectly. Like he played a Joe Rogan, Liver King type personality, played it perfectly. He was in a movie that was kind of similar to John Wick about a hotel. He was in a zombie movie where he played kind of like a merc. Like he's not. He was also in, if I'm not mistaken, the Blade Runner sequel.
So when I look at John Cena, and I look at The Rock, and I look at Dave Bautista, I don't see really great actors. I don't see good actors, but they're not bad. They're just at that level where it's just like, you know.
Well, if you notice, Cena and The Rock both took a lot of goofy family movies to start off with.
So
like
you're not so it's not so much about their acting, it's the movies they take.
Yeah, Batista is choosing better roles, I should say. He's trying to cement himself as a legitimate actor, and he's taking the roles that will get him on that path. He's not a bad actor. I don't think he's ever going to win an Oscar.
No,
you know?
He's not a bad actor. But I mean, neither is The Rock, and neither is John Cena. They just seem like guys that are new to acting, if that makes any sense.
They seem like they're used to being the superstar, and they won't have it any other way. Batista seems like he's at least willing to be a second stringer or a third stringer just to get the experience. Yeah. In fact, he was told by Stone Cold Steve Austin to be very choosy.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is a bad actor.
No, but he was told by Austin to be very choosy in the roles that you pick. You know, don't be afraid to say no to a role if you ain't feeling it. And I believe Austin even pointed to The Rock and Cena and said, look, they're not saying no, and look at their body of work so far.
Yeah. John Cena's doing peanut commercials, and you hear him on a lot of voiceovers where you don't even see it.
Yeah.
It is, so.
Which, can we just say, with John Cena going bald now, can he just go ahead and put on that fucking denim cap and become Ernest already? Right? Just a muscle bound Ernest. I'm down with it, right? Ernest P. Cena.
Ernest leaves wrestling.
Yeah. Ernest just shows up and you can't see me.
That's funny.
No, I mean, Cena's face as he's gotten older really does kind of look like a version of Jim Varney, who played Ernest. You know,
like a more like a mutated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he takes a lot of those goofy, slapsticky, physical comedy family roles to begin with.
Let me ask you a question, and this is kind of off topic a little bit, but you mentioned Ernest.
Yeah.
Who the hell was Vern? Who the hell was Vern?
Vern was just a device, honestly.
Because you know what I mean, Vern? Like,
yeah.
I never understood. Like, what, I don't. Who are you talking to, bro?
Someone you never got to see.
Am I Vern?
No.
I Vern? I'm not Vern. Okay.
Nope. Vern was a friend, and Vern was someone you never got to see. It was a device. I don't remember the particulars right now, but I read not too long ago about how the whole character of Ernest came to be. And it was started off as Ernest was, you know, talking off stage or off camera or off scene to Vern usually. And when they decided to bring him to the big screen, because I want to say it was kind of like a stand-up routine almost, like a show. But when they decided to bring him to the screen, they wanted to keep the Vern thing, and it was a gag. It was an inside joke. You know, there is no Vern.
As a kid, that shit confused the fuck out of me, man. I'm like, man, show Vern, man. I want to see Vern. Where is he? You talking to this? I gotta assume wherever Ernest goes, Vern is with him. He's just behind the camera. Show Vern.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so I mean, The Rock being an asshole, I'm pretty sure Marvel's gonna tell him thanks but no thanks, and he's gonna you know cry in the media.
I think Marvel has done an excellent job with the casting their characters, even these second-rate heroes. I think they've done a good job.
Wait, who do you consider a second-rate hero?
Oh, you know, the Falcons, you know, the what's his name? Hawkeye. Those are the second. You know, you got your main players. Your main players are Hulk, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America. Those are your Thor. Those are your main. Those are your top tier. Then you got your what I just mentioned, Hawkeye, Falcon, your War Machine. Those are your second tier. Then you got your third tier.
Sounds like I need to build a new tier list.
Let's do it.
Fuck it, let's do a tier list. All right. Yeah, because all of you in the comments that are pissed off that he just rated Hawkeye and some of those as second and third stringers,
those
sound off in the comments.
That's a second stringer for sure.
Yeah,
you can't put Hawkeye. Okay,
Hawkeye's a badass.
Hawkeye is a badass, but he would last about 2 seconds versus Captain America. It wouldn't even be a fight.
It depends. If you're talking hand-to-hand combat, maybe. Cap will probably pull his punches because he doesn't want to hurt Hawkeye.
Exactly.
Hawkeye
I'm just
is
saying,
tactical.
if they were going full tilt, he could not hang with any of those 4 top tier.
Sound off in the comments.
And then you got your third and fourth tier, which are like those guys. Some of those guys are legit really powerful, like the Eternals and shit.
Yeah,
like they are legit, but they're otherworldly. We don't know enough about them yet as far as what's seen in Marvel in the MCU right now, as far as the movies. So
fair enough. Do want to thank you for sitting down with me, man. It's always a pleasure.
I just bumped my mic. Yes, man. Thanks. I'm always ready to go, man. I love your show. Love what you guys are doing. You can call me to do this as much as you like.
Howdy, folks. I'm Rooster, and I want to tell you about my delicious cocksicles, made from 100% pure grain-fed white leghorns. Now, if you're wondering how good they really are, and don't believe me, just ask our satisfied customers.
Cocksicles are cocktastic.
I can't make it through my day without having at least 2 of them in me.
My kids just love drinking the juice that drips off at the end.
Well, there you have it. Tried and true testimonials from regular folks who love my juicy cocksicles. Check your local stores for Rooster's Original Coxicle, and don't forget to try our other flavors. Hickory Smoke Coxicles, Sticky Q Coxicles, which is our own special brand of sweet barbecue flavor, and our STD Special, spicy, tangy, and delicious.
I wanted to talk nerd shit. Who better to talk nerd shit with than one of my longest nerd friends? Koa, right? That's the proper way to say it, Koa?
Yeah, I guess that is what it is now. We've gone through many iterations in our time of knowing each other, but that's what we've landed on now, and that's what all my new stuff is under.
You will always be tacos to me.
I feel like that's for another day, but yes.
Yeah.
I started off this grand world as tacos, and I slowly evolved into what I am today.
Oh, we can give them just a small taste of it. I met tacos because I was playing, what was it, Burnout Paradise? Yeah?
It was Burnout Paradise, back in the old days of Burnout Paradise, before even the DLC was out.
Yeah, and I think the main reason I caught his attention is because my profile picture was of my foot.
Yes, and you hit me with a giant truck in the middle of it, and you ruined my burnout streak. I was in the middle of trying to get one of the hardest achievements. I think it was the parallel parking achievement, if you remember that back in the day. You had to do the flat spin turn and immediately land in the spot, and here you come like a semi-truck, murdering me after I finally perfect my run. It's fine.
Yeah.
No resentment, even to this day.
Just a little. But no, so you're gonna be tacos. I'm
right,
sorry.
Go for it.
That's what's comfortable. Tacos and I have known each other for a very long time. We have helped each other, but we've kind of always been star-crossed content creators, like we have these brief moments in time where we're able to make both of our schedules link perfectly. So we can actually do something or interact together. And then it's like, okay, do we create content or do we have like an hour-long conversation about nothing because we haven't done anything? So this time, though, it's content creation. Let's jump right into it. Indie developers are awesome. Like, honestly, there are people out there that are trying to create things or are creating things that it seems like the AAA game developers wouldn't think of in a million years. Case in point, I've been spending a lot of time on GTA RP, and seeing the MLOs and the dev kits and the things that developers have come up with to put within the Grand Theft Auto framework to enhance the experience is simply amazing. It's beyond anything that I could have ever imagined. Like in my GTA RP server, I am a bar owner. I own a cyber bar. It's an barcade. I was streaming a little bit of it on Twitch, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I own a barcade, and I am the central hub for the city. Like everything flows through me.
So you're like the guy that you have to know for the side quests. So if you don't grease the wheels well enough, it's all going downhill. I love it. You found a way to be a mafia in a different game in a different universe. The dawn has arrived. Dawn Oddman.
See, the idea is, I wanted a spot where new players and veterans could come and chill. New players can come in and ask, hey, what can I do for work? What are you interested in? And I can point them in the right direction from there. The veteran players just want a place to be able to come and cool their heels for a little bit and just have a good RP experience. And my character, Rooster Johnson, will provide you that good RP experience 99% of the time. Rooster is foul-mouthed and is money-driven. So you start mouthing off about the prices and he'll critique your clothing. Like he's just an ass.
Yeah. And I know a lot of the indie dev scene in general has been evolving quite a bit post-quarantine. I just got back from MagFest down in DC, National Harbor, Maryland, and there's a whole section that's all of these experimental games across the board, whether it's the storytelling from having destructible environments to dating sims and everything in between. I think one of the coolest ones I saw from that was someone took an entire game that you control with a flashlight, and basically the control peripherals from it is you have a move forward, a duck left and duck right, and you have to use a real flashlight to control it, and has a light sensor on the other end. That's and cool. Stuff like that is crazy. Like people decided over the last 3 years, I'm getting disconnected from people. So when it's time to bring people back together, I really want to push the envelope in some new things and new ways. And we see that in demakes, whether it's the Red Dead Redemption or there's even some Fallout demakes that are existing in this world where we take new games and bring them back to the past. And now the opposite is also true, where people are taking inspirations from some of these big titles and creating these new experiences that we've never seen before. I'm really excited to see what is going on from that. Even myself being in game development, even though I'm doing tabletop games on my side and working on a card game, I've seen a lot of like what it means to take inspiration from everybody, pick and choose, and be able to bring these worlds together from where we're at now. And I'm really interested to see what these next couple of years are. It reminds me of, anytime you see waves in music, we have like a big moment where people get disconnected. Some of the most powerful musical pieces come together when something big happens that shakes up the world, whether it's a tragedy or something big like the invention of the internet or even the beginnings of quarantine. So I think that's what we're going to be seeing a lot, not only today when we're going over things for the podcast, but just in general. It seems like we're heading in this direction of the next renaissance of people taking the time to experiment with shit again.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what we have here for our first topic is Fallout 2. For those of you that are fans of the Fallout series, the Fallout post-apocalyptic wasteland adventure. The first two games were pretty much like top-down-ish, like 3/4 view or something like that. And people like myself, like I'm old as fuck, man. I grew up watching with video games. Literally, as video games progressed, so did I. And there's certain things that I'm just done with seeing. Like I know top down is some people's favorite. I hate it. I stared at top down for the majority of my gaming life. I'm good. I'm straight. Platformers are the same thing. I fucking cannot stand platformers. A little bit of platforming in a game, not bad. A whole game dedicated to platforming, dude, I was playing that when I was 10. I'm good. And
especially now, if people don't know, we're talking about how there is a Fallout 2 mod.
We're getting there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to segue it. We'll back up for a second.
No, but he's right. Fallout 2, someone devved it up to be a first-person shooter instead of a top-down view. And it's that creativity that you were just talking about, man. It's we want to give something that you haven't seen before. And you may have played Fallout 2, but you haven't played Fallout 2 like this.
Absolutely. It takes the can I play Doom on my toaster to a whole new level. There's this whole trend, if people don't know as well, where there's these people who like to take Doom and put it in the weirdest places. Like I'll put it in Minecraft for people to play. You can play it on your calculator, your toaster.
Your pregnancy tests.
Yes. It's this idea of where can I stretch technology to fit something that is just outlandishly abnormal. And what we're seeing now with the Fallout side is that people decide, hey, one day, what if I just decide to make things crazy and let's make it first person for a top-down game? Because I even grew up probably right at the edge. Fallout 3 was my first Fallout game, but I still grew up with Command and Conquer. And I remember the renaissance of them re-releasing the Command and Conquer Legacy Collection for Red Alert 1, and still waiting for Red Alert 2 if they ever want to bring that out and make me a happy camper. But I know what that feeling feels like where, hey, I feel exhausted with the genre, but it's nice to see things come back that were kind of the return to form of where we were. Because a lot of those games don't exist anymore. It seems like we feel like the same kind of game is made over and over again, minus your like Hats and Time Celeste and your Undertales, which try to push the envelope a little bit. You get just for as many of those, the Fortnites, the Apexes, the games that seem to be more or less copy and paste right now, or even Gundam Evolution to Overwatch, where they're identical, the same game, they just have different skins for different mindsets and people. And that's where I really hope that we move away from, and stuff like this and projects that we see that are more indie driven, I'm hoping will help drive some new results.
Yeah, I've got a game developer friend, like a video game, not tabletop like you're doing. I've got a game developer friend that will come to me every so often because he knows I like to write as a hobby, you know, and he apparently thinks that I have good ideas. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he'll come to me and he'll be like, hey, I've got this idea for this game. I'm kind of stuck on a story. Where should I go? Twice now. I've given him ideas. The most recent one, unfortunately, he didn't take, but I thought it would be a really cool game. He had described a fight out of hell in a way for his game, like very briefly, and I was like, what if you reverse Dante's Inferno it? Like, you have to fight your way out of hell, and then at the end of each level, you get a morality check. And if you answer it wrong, you have to repeat the level. If you answer it right, you progress to the next level. But if you repeat it, you get twice the amount of bad guys. And he's like, that's fucking cool. That's evil, but that's cool. We were talking about another horror game, and I was like, well, I don't want to scare the audience. I want the audience to feel helpless. I want them to feel hopeless. Like, I want a game where there is no happy ending, where the happy ending is still pretty fucking dark.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that I would like to see. But then again, I'm, you know, a twisted-minded individual that, you know, realizes that sometimes in life there isn't a pretty bow wrapping everything up. And I like stories like that. I like movies like that. And I wish I could see more games like that. And
first suggestion for you on Play is What Remains of Edith Finch. That is a excellent game for dark and dreary and making you have to think about stuff. It's kind of like in the same realm of those eldritch horror kind of games, but it's more telling the story of a family and what happened to every member of the family that ultimately led to their demise, because there's some sort of curse on this family that you learn over time, and it feels in that same vibe. And I like that what you're going with is that you want to flip the script on what everyone expects is common, and you want to make something you find beauty in the dark and dreadful, which is very almost like Nolan of you. If we're talking like old school, like if we're talking directors, it's very Nolan of you. But there's a lot of truth in it, that in more of the darker stuff, it seems like those are the more impactful pieces that we see. Detroit Become Human was another example of that, where you could have your happy endings, but the most powerful endings in Detroit Become Human is when you question that, is being robotic being the good guy, or is being robotic being the bad guy, when you should be like, oh, I'm not human, I'm the bad guy. Maybe hold on for a second, play through a little bit and see how we go. And that's really interesting.
Well, I even went so far too, is in that one game where the grim outcome was what I was shooting for. I was like, I want items. I want you to not be able to trust a single thing. I don't want you to trust what you know. I don't want you to trust what you see. I want you to be constantly distrustful throughout the entire course of this game, complete with, like, say you're presented with a poisoned apple or a healthy apple. Now, what you know would be the healthy apple. But I wanted there to be a mechanic in the game where every so often what you think should be the right answer ends up being the wrong answer and randomized.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in that specific instance, the rotten apple is what's going to help you more, but you want to lean towards the healthy one, the one that you're like, oh, I'm low on health, I'm going to eat this and I'll be okay, and have it just completely fuck you in the process.
Yeah. And in game design, that a lot of times what they would do to compromise from that is they would have you be given a choice where you pick one apple and you'd have to give the apple to an NPC that you have some sort of emotional attachment to see the immediate punishment. But I almost like better that every single thing is just directly punishing yourself. So then there's no scapegoat that, oh, I have this person leaning on my shoulder to be the angel and demon. I have to just live with my consequences and choices.
Yeah, because the whole game you were alone. You were basically trying to fight the story that I gave them was you were basically trying to fight your way out of your own psyche, but you didn't realize it until the very end. You got snippets of things along the way, but they didn't make sense because they didn't come in any kind of discernible order. And it was up to you as you went to try and pay attention and remember, okay, I saw this part, but then I saw this. I also thought it would be cool to tell the story from like 3 different angles, from the killer's perspective, the victim's perspective, and then an outsider's perspective. And you have to figure out which perspective is yours.
Oh, that reminds me of there's like a Cabin in the Woods game that was like that. Until Dawn.
Yeah.
That reminds me of if you took Until Dawn and Dante's Inferno and fused them together for that, and it'd be fun. I'd be half tempted to see when you have the choices where it shows like this many people chose this choice versus this choice, your classic got popular in Life is Strange, brought to everywhere else. How many people would actively choose the bad choices just to try to progress the story in a certain way? Because I think that would be just as cool for those kind of situations.
Well, and it would also, you could use it as a metric too for an argument to say, okay, maybe gamers are tired of the happy ending all the time. If more are choosing to go the darker route to get the unhappy ending, maybe it would be kind of a signal flare that, okay, maybe it's time to not always wrap everything up in a pretty little bow.
Absolutely.
But the fact that Fallout 2 is in a first-person shooter, it looked like they used the Doom setup AI, like the UI for it. Like I was looking at it and watching, and I was like, yeah, this is Doom. So yet again, someone got Doom to run on something it shouldn't have.
I mean, and this hits your heartstrings exactly what you're talking about for types of storytelling. Because Fallout by itself is one of the quintessential ways of, I took a D&D campaign, a Pathfinder campaign, something that's interactive story, gave you a whole lot of options and set you loose. And this one, the original top-down, I remember like one of the Easter eggs was you trying to find the TARDIS by doing sequence after sequence top-down. And it was a lot of like point and click, trial and error. What this does for you is it streamlines the process to give you this half step in between of, it looks like Fallout, almost New Vegas had a child with its predecessor. And we're seeing what is now happening from that. I love that all of the skills that you have available to you is in this really neat and compatible menu. Just something from a quality of life. This is just a random rant off the sidebar. But when I'm looking at this, some of the stuff that you see right there where it's this quick little sidebar, quality of life where you can quickly run through everything, select, push forward, are fairly new advancements for UI development being introduced into a past game. So they're still using all the technology that makes the game run smoother in developing a game that's purposely looking bad, or not looking bad, but looking more retro. And it's giving you all of the love that it feels like it's old school with all the quality of life improvements that you're known to expect in the modern world. Which, those kind of moments are going to be the kinds of games that I will see time and time again, that I would love to get the treatment for like Chrono Trigger or any game that you would have growing up that you would love.
Yeah. There's some games, though, they need to leave alone. Like Conker's Bad Fur Day. I don't think you can make that one better. I got that one on the rare replay, and it just played like ass, and it looked like eye cancer. And I was just like, I used to love this. I can't look at this now.
And I don't think Conquer can exist in our modern world. It's a little bit of a different world when Conquer first came out. It's just like your Postals and everything else.
Postal's still going strong, man.
I suppose so. I know it has some sort of like meme kind of capability that's pushing it through in the Steam market and the mod market.
Well, and it's a lot of people that played the original and actually loved it. Like, I think they're up to Postal 4 now.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. And I think there's a couple of little like side games, like they're not full on Postal games, but they're like Postal yada yada, whatever it is. But yeah, Postal's up to 4 now, and they just released 4 like within the last 6 months, I think. So, but it's a PC game. That's the thing. Like that's where the big divide seems to be, is anything that pops up on the console or anything that you would typically use one of these for has to be so saccharine and sanitized because, oh my God, a kid might play it. Well, you know, not if their parents have taken the time to understand the piece of technology that they've just handed their impressionable youth. You know, you can, there's restrictions and boundaries and all sorts of stuff that you, the parent, could do, you know, but you want to put it on the game companies that they have to make these games that everyone can play. Oh, fuck that. When you make it for everyone, you make it for nobody.
And I think it's because a lot of that is very loose rating systems, and even more in our Steam world where ratings don't really exist as much as they used to. It's a lot harder to be able to put that definition down. I remember growing up that Halo is a rated M game. It's this big, bad, scary game, and it's put in the same world as Grand Theft Auto. When I would argue that Halo, you could probably do away with the blood and there would be a rated T game. There's not really a whole lot about Halo in itself that.
But you're killing aliens in Halo. That's the thing. It's like the blood. Yeah, you're killing. You're not killing humans. Okay, you're not like. So it's not your typical, like, I would slap an M on Call of Duty just because it's real life, you know, realistic violence, as opposed to Halo where you're shooting a weapon that doesn't exist at creatures that don't actually exist.
And even you would argue, some people would argue Fortnite and Apex Legends are the same thing, because a lot of times you're taking humanoid people and you're being able to put them in those situations. It's wild to think that like all of those exist in the same rating system. So if you are going from the perspective of someone who is foreign to the world of video games, you'll correlate all the extremes to anything that falls remotely under that category, which causes a lot of these problems too. By every definition, Fallout can be as wholesome as you want to be, or be as sinister as you want to be, for example, from what we're looking at from this. And that's really up to you as the person. It's more reflective of you than it is of the game. Because there's pacifist runs. I've played Fallout runs where you are a jolly person who doesn't hurt anybody, who charms their way through everything slick and suave. And I've had ones where you are just the most evil scum of the earth. And I think there's like perks that you can be a cannibal or anything of the extreme that you want and run the world. There's no modern way of regulating games like it used to be. So it's a lot more now of how do we address that, and how do we be able to kind of push for it? Because you go on Steam, there's no rated M for mature anymore. There's PEGI 18 or 17 for the European market, but there's not the same for here.
Yeah. You can find a game where you can bang. You're an orc that bangs, you know, massage clients right next to a game like, you know, my cult leader game that I have. Like, Honey, I Joined a Cult. Like, Honey, I Joined the Cult is like cutesy and bright and colorful and everything, but boom, you know, you go just like one search over or one page over, and there's orc dicking. You know, like I'm cool with that though. I like that PC's always been more of the Wild West or the Old West when it comes to gaming and things like that. Because even if you do give a saccharine, sugary base game, give it 6 months and some freaky little weirdo like myself is going to come up with a mod for it that takes everybody's clothes off.
Yeah. I remember Spider-Man, when Spider-Man got to the PC, it was less than 4 hours before the first really big mods, the not safe from work mods, hit the market. People were ready. They had a button to hit upload and they were ready to go immediately. It is shockingly fast how the internet works and how quickly they can make anything, any sort of lewd or wholesome or anything in between. Mod market especially. there's a lot more resurgence too of games that are getting new functions that push the boundaries of the games as well. Similar to Fallout 2, in my world, when I do speed runs, I speedrun Wind Waker and Mario 64. We start adding things like crowd control, where your Twitch stream can hop in and they can actively go against you in those games, where they can make you rocket jump, where you soar off into the sky. They can take away your sword. They can reshuffle the map. They could, in Zelda games, they could spawn Ganon for him to just sneak attack and try to murder you. If you're playing Dark Souls all of a sudden now, you now have not only someone who can come into the game, you can have someone who just takes away all the stuff that you worked 6 hours to do, because it's just part of the theater of war that is you being able to interact with people in fun and new ways. And there's even horror games that are built around that now.
That you gave people the ability to be dicks.
Yes. They're bringing that world in, that our games now are more or less what I feel like 3D movies were for movies, is this new renaissance for games. The 3D glasses were this way to try to get people interactive within movies and sit down on the seats to be able to bring something new. We're going to see more and more, whether it's these remakes, but these ways to make people interact with games in new, exciting ways. And that's your Jackboxes. Those are all the games that you can bring a bunch of people together and just see what sticks and see how crazy people's minds will go when you give them enough creativity.
I will say this before we move on. I do have to say, as cool as all this is and as cool as all that sounds, I do miss a good, solid, story-driven single-player game. You know, I have felt like such the old gamer, because everybody's like, you know, I want to play with my friends, I want to do this online, I want to go battle royale, I want to do this, and I'm just like, man, I want to play by myself. I miss my good story games. You know, I haven't had one in a while.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Just peel, lick, and stick. Press on fast. Explode in a veritable cornucopia of color and pattern. You'll get red, blue, yellow, green, purple, olive, aquamarine, burnt sienna, Payne's gray, brick, slate, granite, jade, flat, snake, foam, and paisley.
So we were talking about the hard work that devs do and how they sometimes are unsung heroes. You know, there's not a lot of fanfare a lot of the times when it comes to the indie devs. And this is the exact opposite of fanfare. This is a dev that was creating a PS2 emulator so you could play all your favorite PS2 games. And apparently they were just getting harassed online. Among other things, they got death threats, but what seemed to be the clincher was everybody was criticizing and pushing for when's it going to be ready, when's it going to be done, you know, and then the death threats started, like, well, if you don't hurry up, I'm going to do this or X, Y, and Z. And you know, chill the fuck out, people. Seriously. Like, you know what happens when you rush devs? You get Cyberpunk. You know what happens when
Duke Nukem Forever?
Duke Nukem Forever was never going to be a good game. Never. Not a single Duke Nukem game has been a good game. They've been fun, don't get me wrong, but it was never going to be a good game. But when you rush devs, you get games like Cyberpunk. And when you don't rush devs, you get some of your favorite games that you've ever played that have been solid games. Like, I can't imagine ever going after a dev and like saying, you know, death threats towards them because they're doing this or not doing this fast enough.
And from reading through the articles and just reading through kind of what I found across this is that this was a company who's trying to make or not a company, it's an individual who's trying to make an open source version that anybody has access to. But there's a lot of back and forth, whether it's for profit apps or everything else, trying to be able to make PlayStation's app available to them and being able to argue around the source code. Now, PlayStation in general is an absolute pain for the speedrunning community and just any community in general, because of the fact that it is not very easy to emulate anything, to get it working with the amount of BIOS, patching, things that you have to do to make any PlayStation item work, let alone if I want to do a capture card system on a PlayStation, I have to toggle through so many different menus to get the capture card to read the damn thing. For this, a lot of my frustration for stuff like this is the part of the community that I know is the part that tries to preserve games in the event that libraries don't exist anymore. There's been so much even PlayStation library that's gone over the years. Great example was the playable demo that was for Silent Hill. That game demo is no longer existent on the planet, and the only way that you can have access to that is if you just happen to have a PlayStation before they pulled the market and they'd be able to bring into that. Now, having a open source way to have that to everybody not only helps with video preservation, but it helps people get access to games that normally would not be, or normally if I try to purchase this game, I don't want to pay $600 to play Panzer Dragoon or Ratchet and Clank. I want to be able to play through it a little bit, and if it's that I have to support a developer and support PlayStation itself, I'm more than happy to buy the first market version of a game. But for some of these that don't exist anymore, and there's the only way to play it is basically you're out of luck or you have to go through scalpers. I want to have some sort of mechanism to preserve that and be able to showcase these games to other people who want to be able to see those experiences for the first time.
Well, and emulators in and of themselves, I don't have an issue with. I've never had an issue with. Like, I like the fact that there are emulators out there that I can go back and play my old Sega games and my old Nintendo games and stuff like that. You know, look, Nintendo doesn't need to worry about making a buck by releasing a greatest hits, because guaranteed there's going to be a game on that greatest hits disc that, or there's going to be a game that I love that isn't on that greatest hits. You know, Parasite Eve was one of my favorite PlayStation games. I don't know if it exists anywhere in the wild. You know, Manhunt was another one that I played on the PlayStation, and that one got so much shit, I don't think it still exists at all.
Ape Escape, one of my favorite franchises ever that even got me into content creation to begin with. Ape Escape 1, you can play on a really choppy port that is available for PSP, but if not, you have to have an open disc. The problem is the only backwards compatible PlayStation is a PS3, the fat ones, not the slim ones. Once they did the slim ones, they completely got rid of backwards compatibility. And even future PlayStations do more and more to get rid of backwards compatibility, to the point that playing a PS2 game is soon going to be non-existent in the current hardware. As soon as we hit those functions, I always rationalize that all of these things need to exist if I can no longer access it in a very easy, manageable way where I can support the main function. Because they're not going to put it on streaming, not going to put everything. I can play Ape Escape 1 and Ape Escape 2, a European copy streamed on an online stream service at low bit rates where it will stutter, it'll skip, and it's not even in the same language that I started with. But every other game in that franchise, I either have to pay $400 to $600 to be able to buy it, or maybe a loose copy for $70 if I'm lucky, or I'm out of luck. I have no access to it, or let alone the import games that were part of that franchise too. And that was one of my favorite franchises growing up that is just ghosted from the world because it's not available in any means that is, by all means, legal.
Well, and Xbox does this too. All of the game makers do this, is like they pick and choose what they want to remaster, you know, to bring forward and whatnot. And sometimes the stuff that they choose, I'm cool with, and some of it I'm just like, you know, that's my biggest issue. You're not getting money out of me again to play the same goddamn game. Just it ain't happening. You know, I'm not buying a bottle of Mountain Dew a second time that I've already drank.
Yes.
You know, it's no, fuck you. Like, if you want to remaster it, offer it as something like, I know devs have to work on it, and I know they need to get paid and yada, yada, yada. I get that. And I was just singing the praises of devs. I get that. But at the same time, these companies sometimes feel more money hungry than anything else. And the minute you show me that that's your intent, I no longer want to feed that beast.
Be more like the devs that did Metal Wolf Chaos. I absolutely love what they did with that. And SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. I don't know if you know about that game, but it was fairly underground when it first came out for GameCube. Got a cult following. They made Battle for Bikini Bottom rehydrated and put it on Steam. Updated the graphics, put some quality of life improvements on it, and it's seeing a whole new life. And it's seeing this grand community that's coming back together to respect the game and be able to bring so much together from that it would be a tragedy if it would have died with the GameCube. And I am so glad that we're seeing new and new iterations, because the only ways to play it before was really GameCube or PS2, both of which not getting any real support Nintendo has not actively supported the GameCube in any iteration of their systems. And PlayStation 2, outside of their PS3, they have very limited access to be able to have support unless you're streaming on their software. I will at least give Microsoft benefit of the doubt because of Game Pass. They've done a very good job of giving you access to previous games. But even them, they still have their gaps in between. There's still library things we'll never see.
Well, it's better than nothing, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that's what it comes down to. It's better than nothing. You know, I'm a big proponent for Game Pass because I miss fucking Trials. You know?
Trials HD.
Oh, no, Game Trials.
Old Trials. Oh, yeah.
Game Trials in general. You expect me, what is it now? $70 is what AAA titles are going up to now across the board, it seems like. You expect me to plunk down almost $100 without knowing anything about it other than the super high def rendered footage that you put through it as a gameplay trailer. Or you know, the word of mouth. No, give me an hour with it. Give me an hour with your game. You know, if your game can't hook me in an hour, and your game is an hour free is going to be so detrimental, you have a shitty game.
Yeah,
flat out.
More credit where credit's due for Steam on that one. I think Steam's pushing the envelope and being able to offer those free play weekends for games, so you can have a whole weekend to play through a game as free trial.
Yeah.
Or their return policy, where even if you buy a game, I think there's like maybe a 2-hour window that if you don't like the game within playing 2 hours of the game, or I might be wrong on the exact time, you can return it for a full refund.
Yeah.
So they still honor that same kind of thing, and you can see that DNA from the Xbox era is just astounding that the demos are gone. Like, we don't have a world with demos unless we go to conventions anymore.
Yeah, and there's no reason that you can't. Fine, show it at a convention, and then immediately have it ready within 24 hours to go up, so others can play the demo. You know, if it's not a finished demo, completely understand. Sometimes at the conventions, even though I've never been, I do understand sometimes they've patchworked something together just so you can put your hands on it, you know, and they're hoping you don't see the cracks. But you know, if you've got a decent demo, throw it up on the PlayStation Network, the Xbox store for free, you know, and you know, count it as a pre-install, you know. I don't know.
Relating back to the top of this whole problem to begin with, use that as a function to get people interested in the game, so you can take the time to support your developers to have extra time to iron out the problems.
And stop threatening developers.
Yes. The common ground in between, have some sort of way where people can ingest the game or have some sort of working way to be able to do it. And people who are wanting to enjoy games need some sort of social contract where they understand, don't harass developers. Everyone works really hard. For stuff that I work on, there's my normal job that's 40 to 50 hours a week plus. And then I put in another 60 hours just to balance a card game and be able to talk about a printer and learn that no matter what we can do, we're not within the 15 cents difference that any card game developer from like a mainstream developer world can be able to do. So we have to figure out some way to make it make sense. We have so many layers that go into just getting a product out to somebody that it is excruciatingly frustrating when you have a level of audience keeping pushing and pushing and pushing, and you feel like you are failing them because you're not able to meet the deadlines that are pushed by other people, not yourselves. I think there's some level of unrealistic expectations and boundaries that aren't there right now. And it's been rewarded by this instant gratification we've seen in our modern game development world.
Yeah, everybody. Well, also too, everybody thinks that because they have a little bit of anonymity with a screen name that they can say and behave however they want, and that is not the case, not at all. And to go so far as to threaten someone's life over a video game.
Just because I didn't get it to work on iOS, I'm going to make your life miserable forever. Whatever.
Yeah. Go outside, you know, see a tree.
Classic, just go touch grass.
Yeah, go touch grass or something. You know?
I'm still back in the day when we had a Game Boy Color and you still had to turn it off because you couldn't play it out in the sunlight. So you had to go hang out outside and and go touch grass or play with the big old Tonka trucks and move dirt all over the place. It'd be fun. By the way, totally dangerous toy. I wish comes back.
What, Tonka trucks? The solid metal ones?
The solid metal ones
yeah.
that I definitely cut open and had stitches from a Tonka truck machine. And I was like, this is the best days of my life. I look at them fondly.
What you should do is you should just start hitting up flea markets and look for them, and then just start giving them out randomly to your friends who have kids.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. You know, here's a Tonka truck. Why did you give him that? You'll find out. You'll see. It's going to be good times at the ER, promise.
Good times.
Finally, tacos, we've got one last thing that I want to talk about. And I'm slightly excited for this, but I also have some issues with it. Red Dead Redemption 3. Yeah. Okay. Huge
Red Dead Redemption 4 first, before if we count Red Dead Revolver.
No. They acknowledge that it started with Red Dead Revolver, but they fully understand that Red Dead Redemption is where everybody's counting at this point, because Red Dead Revolver is a completely different name. It's not Redemption.
It's a revolver that leads to redemption.
Shh. Okay. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, all right? So Red Dead Redemption 1, fantastic game. Did not get the support that it should have gotten, I think. They dropped one DLC, and that was it. You know, the Undead Nightmare. Solid DLC, though. Give them that. I enjoyed the hell out of both the main game and the DLC. So fast forward 8 years, and we get Red Dead Redemption 2. And Red Dead Redemption 2 is a beautiful love letter to the Old West and Westerns in general. Like, it had your genuine Western elements. It had some of your spaghetti Western elements to it. You know, the stories that were being told were heartbreaking. And you went dark and blurry.
Oh, no. Give me a second. Take from the top now.
Red Dead Redemption gave you stories that were heartbreaking, and you know, it was just a full game, even though you felt like it was so empty, because there was wide swaths of nothing, I should say. But then again, they pulled the same Rockstar treatment with it, and this is where my problem starts. Is Rockstar has pumped millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars into Grand Theft Auto Online, right? Red Dead Redemption 2 released its online side. We were like, all right, we expect, you know, similar treatment for how GTA went. We're going to get some cool shit. You're going to give us storylines. There's going to be events and stuff like that. And we're like, yeah. And then we get wah wah.
More or less, can I lasso my friends? That's about it.
No DLC. Nothing. No additive to the story. No nothing. They pretty much just put it on a shelf and let it die.
No, like Tales from Arthur Morgan. Even that'd be fun. Like there's the problem with that one in particular too, with it being a prequel. There's so much more like DLC. You could have just went back in time and explored more of the gang in general, and it would have been incredible. Like they wrote themselves into a expanse of a story that makes so much sense, because it is a spaghetti Western about revenge, that I can go backwards in time and learn more about the world that led to it. That makes sense. And it just feels like a good Tarantino tribute at that point.
Now we got Red Dead Redemption 3 they're talking about. They have no real release date yet, but they're saying that they are going to do a Red Dead Redemption 3. And I'm sitting here like, okay, I would like to know more. I am going to assume that it's going to be following Arthur's son. You know, a little bit more like pick up. I can't imagine they're going to go prequel, so they're going to have to do a sequel from the first one, right? Like the events that ended the first one, and it's been forever. So,
what, Jack Marston?
Yeah, that's
you had a Morgan and a Marston.
Yeah, it's Marsden. You would have to follow Jack Marsden at this point. And I know Undead Nightmare did a little bit, but I don't know if they're going to count that as canon because of zombies and, you know, apocalyptic horses and shit like that. But, you know, I'm left like part of me is like excited because I know Rockstar knows how to tell a Western story, and they knock it out of the park. Red Dead Redemption 2, both solid stories, solid games. But at this point, they're also getting ready to release GTA 6. Where's your priorities going to lay at that point? Are you going to keep pumping money into GTA 6? Because we know they are. It's going to have it online. It may only be online. Who knows at this point? But now you're talking Red Dead Redemption 3, and I want the support. You know, I want the content for the game. Keep giving me shit.
See, in my fantasy world, this is how this would go. GTA 6 takes place in Vegas and surrounding areas. So you would get this kind of old westerny feel of the future. And Red Dead Redemption 3 would take place of the Western Expanse into Vegas, New Mexico, and Arizona areas, right at the dying age of the cowboys. So right as like the mafia and the industrial age came in, and you could even make it essentially a prequel to GTA 6 while telling two different stories that would be semi-co-connected.
Yeah.
Where you have like the mafia mob connections into the old West, which was a huge moment in our American history. And you would also have the GTA side where no one would complain that we're in Las Vegas, Nevada for a GTA game. You got balloons, you have everything in between from helicopter tours to gunfights on the strip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you do Vegas and the surrounding areas, and maybe even expand it, because like that's the big thing is they're talking about like the biggest GTA map we've ever had. You know, that it's supposed to be like spanning several states and whatnot. There's been a lot of rumors and shit for GTA 6. It's hard to figure out exactly what's true and what's just, you know, wish listing.
I mean, just take the old West, take Albuquerque, New Mexico, and shoot west until it hits California and go down into Mexico, and you would have a very interesting story. You have Juarez included in that, and you'd have connections to the first game. I know that's just fan crafting from there, but that's me trying to figure out a way to, if I was in the world of Rockstar right now, how could I make two games that were synergy, and then I could be able to make DLCs that are co-related.
Well, yeah, you could start in one decade and move progressively through the decades. You, if you were smart, could even probably bullshit your way into leapfrogging into current time with GTA.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be some effort, but you could DLC your way there. DLC your way there. I didn't mean to be funny, and it was.
And it was good.
But no, like I said, with Red Dead Redemption 3, my big thing is why at this point. You're just going to leave it on the vine to die again. Like you're going to put all this effort in and make this beautiful looking, beautiful playing, beautiful, you know, story-driven game, and then you're just going to let it die in favor of rocket bikes and shark cards.
Yeah, the only way that I could foresee it going well is that they have some sort of way to wrap it into their main franchises. And that's the reason why that pitch exists in the beginning in my mind, is that the only way that Red Dead Redemption will get the love that it needs to be able to survive is you have to be able to introduce all the stuff that they love from their GTA Online. And to get a player from GTA invested is you have to have some sort of crossover and some sort of like bleed through, which is weird that we're talking about that because it's the reverse problem where everyone hates microtransaction until we get to GTA Online where microtransactions are king.
Yeah.
And they become such a pinnacle part of this world because they use it as a way to skip level progression. They basically use it to buy levels like in World of Warcraft. And they find some sort of value in it that's not a traditional microtransaction.
Pay to win.
Yep.
I mean,
pay to win.
That's all it really comes down to.
Give me a horse car race, and then have it jump between times where horsepower goes from on a buggy to in a Mustang in one seamless transition. I'm there. I'll accept the ridiculousness.
All right, Tacos, I want to do one last thing with you before I let you go.
Okay.
So we are updating our interview roulette.
Ooh.
5 random questions, right? But I want to show you what we've created. And if you don't mind, we're going to click the button 5 times and let you answer the questions.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to click it once.
That first one's already pretty good. You could be in the soundtrack. This is my first question right now. Is if you could have your music be the soundtrack to any movie, which would you choose? So for this is more of like a musician question, or if I could choose a song and apply it to a soundtrack.
You know what? It's typically this one would be more of a musician question. But if you could, a song that means something to you, if you could have your favorite song be the soundtrack to any movie, which would you choose?
Ooh, there's a song from OAR. There's Crazy Game of Poker by OAR. And I find that to be like one of the quintessential songs about like, it's like a Hotel California where it's like a loss, remorse, and being able to accept that your time is up. And I would love to get like a slow pace music trailer opera version like you would see from any of our modern world, and apply it to any like either James Bond film or any casino type film, like a 21 type movie, just to be able to force home the point that whoever you're following is absolutely either going to die or go through hell in life, and have a way to kind of tell a story impactfully if someone took back and read through the lyrics and was like, oh shit, that's what this movie's about. So it's stuff like that. I think that's really cool. Any type of music that has a story built in itself that you can use to drive context in a narrative.
All right. You ready for your next one?
Yeah, let's do it. It says, if you had to delete all but one app from your phone, which one would you keep? See, this is going to be the tough one. I have to see what apps I have right now.
Discord. There should be no answer beyond that. Discord is mine. I would leave Discord.
Yours?
Yeah, I would leave Discord on my phone. I've been using it a lot more as of lately, and to get rid of it would be pretty detrimental right now.
Yeah, I see Discord being a very important one. For me, it's YouTube, just because so much of my life is being able to absorb other content as well. It's essentially my engine to be able to do research. But Discord is probably a close second. I think especially during the pandemic, Discord's probably what kept a lot of us going, and both creatively and mentally. Most of my friends I couldn't see across the world, but I could hop onto a Discord app and be able to jump in with everyone. So I definitely see the importance for that, for sure.
Well, and also too, if you keep Discord and someone else kept YouTube, boom, you guys can work together.
You see, look at you. You're breaking the system here. You're using the Discord stream share option, but then if they had YouTube, how would you connect with them on Discord?
I'm an idea man. That's it.
Not logistics.
No.
We're fine.
All right. Third question.
iOS or Android? Quintessentially, I have to go inside with Android. I think a lot of the technology and support for everything is very strong with Android. What I would give iOS in particular is they're great for one specific user compatibility. I can pick something out of the box and it should work universally from everything. Biggest flaw with iOS, once you go 2 or 3 updates, it'll start slowing down with whatever bloatware or not, whatever you want to call it. iOS has a timer, a ticking time bomb, so to speak, on it. And as long as I don't get a Samsung Galaxy hand grenade Android device, I'm pretty safe to assume that my Android will outlast an iPhone.
You don't like playing Samsung Roulette?
I mean, I have the Ultra 22. Sometimes it gets pretty hot.
Yeah, sometimes you'll get a phone call. Sometimes you'll get a 3rd-degree burn. That's the fun.
That's the fun.
All right, question 4.
Who has been the biggest influence in your life? So this one, probably I could go with the Odd was a big influence in my life,
and we all know you're bullshitting. So
I would say, as a side tangent, you were definitely a big influence in your life, and we might cover that for a separate kind of podcast, bring into it. But I would say one of the things that you've done is you challenge the friends around you, and you help you call them out and you challenge them to be able to get back to stuff if you see them kind of falling off the horse, so to speak, in anything they're doing. In terms for overall biggest influence, I honestly would say one of my buddies that I started my card game company with, was one of the people that suggested, hey, you're having a hard time, just go travel the US and go see things. It was my buddy Caleb, who we've spent the last 3 years working on our last 2 dev projects. And in doing so, it's been really simply having someone similar to yourself, and that you can push people, but you can also spend the time to just sit there, watch a stupid movie for 3 hours. We watch Thanksgiving once a year and talk about how great it is. And we
watch the sequel.
Yes, Thanksgiving 3.
Yep.
And did you know that there's a musical?
No.
There's a cursed musical available that is for that. And secondly, while we're on the topic, Velocipaster.
I've not seen it yet. I know it exists.
Oh my gosh.
I have a friend that I met while doing GTA RP that is basically my soulmate when it comes to shitty horror movies. And so we've been working our way through each other's list of favorites and watching them through Discord. So Velocipaster is on my list. I don't know if it's on his.
First 5 minutes will sell you on it. And I will send you a clip from when I was at MagFest that we convinced random people in the audience to do a live reading and reenacting parts of that movie. There's a sequel coming out soon, so you definitely need to do your homework. There's a Kickstarter that was successful, Velocipaster 2. That's not even my own project, but I will promote the hell out of it because this is incredible of a movie. But yes, biggest influence, I think people that are close to home, and the silliest part that I would say is most influential is having someone to watch shitty movies with you and be able to just take a moment to sit back and reflect is one of the weirdest and hardest things, but it helps the most when you're trying to get creative.
Yeah, the guy that I just mentioned, I love sitting and riffing on the movies with him. Last night we were sitting and watching Dead Rising Endgame. Yeah, Endgame. Dead Rising Endgame. And I was working on products for the new merch store. And goofing off with him and talking shit about the movie was helping me be goofy and creative with the product descriptions for the things that I was creating. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying. All right, fifth and final question.
One to bring us home. Oh, that was upside down. That was a whole different one. What wastes the most time in your day-to-day life? And it's not sleep, because I tend to not like sleep too much and keep up from that. I would say the biggest time waster for me, like many people right now, is definitely social media. I myself getting locked into the wrong social media for so long. Biggest thing, just like everyone who says don't harass your developers. If you're a developer, don't read the comments. Really don't read the comments on the stuff that you do. You want to, you look at it, you want to have that moment. Do not. That's not a good call. And same for social media. Recently launched a project that's intertwined with mine. It's a sort of pseudo treasure hunt. And I'm always there monitoring how people are doing with it in their comments. Anytime someone says, oh, this is frustrating too hard, and it's terrible, it's absolute garbage, I take it personally. And I'm like, they're almost about to type a response, but then I back up saying, no, it's not my place. And this is just something that's been pushed out there for the world to enjoy. That wastes so much of your time and so much of your emotional energy that it's stupid that it weighs on you.
Tacos, tell them where they can find you and find your stuff.
Yeah, if you want to follow my really stupid Twitch streams, we like to do speed running with a twist. So I'll be blindfolded playing Zelda, or I'll be taking a shot of hot sauce every time we die. Things that are just out of the ordinary and silly. Twitch.tv/MojoKoa. If you want to be able to follow me on Twitter, it's the same handle for MojoKoa. I also have 2 projects that are currently going on right now. Terrafight, which is basically an RTS game that is turned into a tabletop trading card game, CCG, that you can be able to play with your friends. It's both available on Tabletop Simulator, and you can find it soon available at your local convention starting this spring. Lastly, I have a treasure hunt going on, Tolafima, which you can see all of that on my Twitter. It's cool. You have a chance to win some money and be able to learn the world that Terrafight takes place into, and while having some fun in between. Other than that, I'm here being a silly, crazy person and just ranting my life away to people. So I appreciate you humoring me and taking the time to spend time here with me too.
Well, and if Tacos does his due diligence, I'll have links for everybody in the description. All right, this has been the end of our very first video podcast of the Cult of Odd, and I think it went pretty well. I don't know about the rest of you. We'll find out in the comments section, I'm sure. Just remember, no matter how mean you are, I'm going to be nice. And in the immortal words of the Iron Sheik, good night and go fuck yourself.